Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick.
And this is a slightly less hairy Justin, but becoming hairier.
That's right, we're both sort of growing out the beards and all
The hair's
stuff.
getting longer.
That's right. How have you been, Justin?
Isolation's treating me well.
That's good, man. That's good. I just discovered that I do not have coronavirus.
That is good. I also found out that my son doesn't have coronavirus today as well.
This is a good thing.
I'm happy
That's
being able
good,
to
man.
hug him.
I also discovered I very much dislike things being shoved up my nose. Hope you're all doing well out there. I realise it's a little bit tougher in some other places around the world. So especially like if you're in Europe, the UK, America, please stay safe. Everything sucks right now. We're sort of doing well now in Australia. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're starting to ease back things a little bit. Let's talk about the Hangar Bay, a weekly show where we talk about your submitted X-Wing lists.
And it's back, new, better than ever.
That's right. Been about, I want to say, a bit more than 6 months. Late last year, we sort of wrapped up the last season.
We started trying other things, but we've come back to something that we love.
Yes, it was very popular, and I just really wanted to take a break from it. We were sort of doing a thing where we were cycling through the factions, going one faction a week, blah, blah, blah. And I really wanted to sort of change how things were done. We're still submitting lists the same way. If you want to get one of your list features, literally put it in the comment section of any YouTube video, as long as it's one of mine, obviously, with a link to that within one of your favourite squad builders. Yeah, don't comment on PewDiePie with your X-Wing list. It won't work.
He'll just look at it and go, okay.
I'm sure he gets all kind of crazy crap on his channel. But yes, and of course the patrons have their own section within the Discord. You know the score. It's the same way it always was. We will be changing a few things though. I've decided to sort of can the whole one faction a week thing. I think it was nice from an organisational point of view, but in terms of trying to cover new and relevant things, in terms of trying to get lots of things from different people, like we'd have patrons only submitting for certain factions, which makes sense. People only play certain factions. It actually made organisation of the videos very difficult. So we've decided to go a bit broader, go for larger archetypes. There will be archetypes which are only relevant for certain factions. For example, we talk about X-Wings. Okay, well, that's Rebel Resistance, possibly another faction if the Republic gets an X-Wing later on. But you get the idea. We're sort of keeping it a bit more broad and open. And something I've been wanting to do since the last points change is talk about swarms.
Yeah, since the new points change, swarms have become a big deal.
Yes, en masse generic ships, essentially, where you fly a lot of the same platform to basically gain the advantage, not through pilot abilities, not through upgrades, all that kind of stuff, just through raw attrition and raw amount of guns and ships on the table.
Yes, just recently in the second Quarantine Cup that we've started, I've decided to fly the FO Swarm. Just a whole bunch of
TIE FOs, 8 of them in fact.
Yeah, and while I'm not great at flying all of them at once, I do realise that just rolling 2 dice every single time, eventually someone will roll blanks and you take a damage.
Pretty much it. And it's great having Kylo and Von Reg and all that kind of stuff, but I can just shoot you twice as many times. It also works.
Even more.
In fact, out of everything that happened in the last points change, the TIE FO coming down to 25 points is one of the big ones. You got to remember, back in first edition, the only way you could do the 8 of builds was either with Z95 headhunters or TIE fighters. I believe the light skicks. Yes, the light skicks could, which was the skick interceptor with the light upgrade, but it was just, you'd rather run TIE fighters than over skicks.
Could you do maybe 6 A-Wings or anything like that back then?
Oh, you definitely could, but I'm talking about the 8 of builds. Back in the day, that was our option. So when you appreciate the fact that we can now do it with TIE FOs, it's a strict upgrade on 8 TIE fighters. They're just better. They have shields, better dials, all that kind of stuff. Definitely still true in second edition. So the archetype has got a bit of a boost. Now, it is worth saying, yes, 8 TIE fighters in first edition was never really a thing per se. There were better ways of swarming TIE fighters with crack swarms, even in second edition, we're looking mainly at things like vulture swarms. There was that scum list running about, I suppose it still is, with all the Kiraz fighters and Torquil Mucks. So
Oh, yeah.
swarms is a thing we can do. It's never, in second edition, it's never really been heaps in the spotlight, but I've sort of become more and more interested in it thanks to that last point change. In fact, look, with that in mind, I just wanted to show you guys this graphic here, which me and Justin have in front of us, which shows off that, yes, indeed, all 7 factions have a ship that is relevant in that point span, sort of like the 20-ish to 25-ish points. And all factions, apart from the Resistance, can run an 8 of build. In my opinion, there is no better 8 of build than the TIE FO. Having a look at our options. I mean, obviously, at 25 points, we've also got the V19 Torrent Fighter and the Skick. But look, in my opinion, the TIE FO is the best one. We were actually having a discussion before this, looking particularly at the Skick Fighter. I'm a little bit sad as a Scum player because I don't feel like it really deserves to be 25 points, especially when you compare it to the other options here.
I think it could probably go down by 1 point,
in fact,
possibly 2, but I think 1 point easy.
I think as long as Auto Blasters and the Skick combined is not 25 points, as in Auto Blasters is currently 3 points. So if the Skick went down by 3 points, then you would have 8 Skicks with Auto Blasters, which would be too powerful. But honestly, I foresee like the Auto Blaster going up by a point in the next points change. It is just that good. Cartel Space going down by a point, Auto Blaster up by a point. I think that's something that we're looking at. Even the Gold Squadron Trooper, I think, could arguably go down by a point. However, it is worth saying that it has seen a lot of meta play compared to the Skick Fighter. I mean, it's filler alongside Jedi, but who cares? It's doing well enough. Apart from that, obviously the Vulture Droid, 19 points. It is by far the least powerful ship out of all of these, but it is also 3 points less than a Z or a TIE Fighter. It's great.
It's significantly cheaper, and it just you can so easily field so many of them with also having another ship.
That's right. The 6 of, or arguably even 7 in some weird builds.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to try and do something like that with the TIE Fighter or Z, you're really taxed in terms of what their co-pilot is, or even if they even have a co-pilot, like you could go 8 Zs with, I don't know, a 3-point upgrade each, like, I don't know, is it like a cheap missile or something? It's not as elegant. Like, the Vulture Droid is designed to be the easiest to kill, and it works. It really helps give that factional identity. The new crazy one as well is the Fireball on the Resistance. This is great at 26 points. You can't field 8 of them. Whatever.
No.
You got to get creative. You got to do like 6 or 5 and another ship, or if you really want to do that, I mean,
But I think that works. You can do crazy things like, it's got the illicit. You could put Dead Man's Switch and just fly them at opponents.
You certainly can. It's such a cool design for a ship.
Yeah.
But I got to say, like, out of all of these, it would be so easy to make, like, even 2 of these really, really close in design. And I suppose you could make the argument, the TIE Fighter and the TIE FO, but they should have commonality between them. That's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are the strict upgrade of the other one.
Exactly right. Oh, big time. You can make arguments with the TIE FO, it's got 2 S loops and a K turn versus 2 K turns. I think that's just better anyway. You got to think about these things when you're building a list. If you want to do the 8 of, I think if we're looking at just 8 of something, nothing else, whatever, it's the TIE FO any day of the week.
Yeah.
It's when you look at the other ones that you got to get creative and change other pilots and that kind of stuff, and look at good ways to sort of combine the power level with those. And look, there are pilots in the game like Serazu, Howl Runner, even certain upgrades that just get more and more and more powerful as you combine them with these pilots, which is really interesting. Like I do like how FFG have put cards in like Drea Renthal and Kath Scarlet. Let us move first over to a couple of patron-submitted lists. This one by Netta Mizuno, and this is for the Resistance, with the aforementioned Fireball. 6 of, in fact. One of them being Kazuziona.
Yeah, Kazuda Ziono has Heroic, an R5 Astromech, and the Kaz's Fireball title.
Indeed, and the rest have R5 Astromech. Now, R5 is the one that can repair damage cards, which is very, very relevant with this platform.
Yeah, R2 won't work on these ones, R5 does.
Yes, so the Explosion with Wings built-in ability allows you to expose a damage card. So if you're using R5 Astromech and it happens to be a ship card, you're going to feel pretty bad if it's a pilot card. But at the same time, most pilot cards flip by themselves anyway. Like blinded,
And you've also got Kaz's Fireball, which means that you can actually choose the correct one that you want. And
yes, indeed, for Kazuda. But just R5 Astromech with all of them. I mean, things like console fires, it's nice to have that built-in panic button. That's really cool. Kazuda is one of those things entering into the Republic where I'm kind of curious to see whether it can make a splash meta-wise. And,
him and Jaeger, I think, both have real good chances of being like mini ace, pocket aces sort of thing.
Indeed. But let's just look at this overall, just from a platform point of view. We have 6 of these fireballs, all of them on a virtual 5 hull. They're kind of like 5.5. I feel like if I've always got R5 Astromech, it's almost like you're largely guaranteed to get back to 6 hull again. That's why I kind of like... I think of this as having 5.5 hull each. Nice dial on all of them. They've all got the slam action. And they don't have to expose damage card either. No, it seems decent.
And the fact you've got all choices of 1s, 2s, and 3s, so that when you do a slam, you've got choice.
Indeed.
It makes it pretty good.
Absolutely. So obviously better overall than the TIE-FO, which is what I'm mainly comparing it to. So do you think this is better than having 2 extra platforms? Like basically, we're trading off the advantages of the TIE-FO in that you can have 2 more platforms. But we're gaining... I'd say the dial is a bit of a wash. It's pretty much on par with the TIE-FO. This one's got a bit more health. We get a named pilot. R5 Astromech, I think, gives it a bit more durability.
Yeah.
Like 6 of these versus 8 FOs. That's kind of what my brain's always going back to when I'm comparing SWARMS now. Yeah.
The fact that you don't have any shield, so if you get a crit, you will be taking that, is something.
Not totally insignificant.
Yeah.
But then again, R5 Astromech can repair crits, so it's almost like having a shield in a kind of weird way, isn't it? Yeah.
I suppose so, yeah.
I mean, as I said, if you get pilot criticals, then you're just going to feel bad, and bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
It does eventually happen, but it's not too bad. The other thing I would also consider is, rather than just having the Colossus station mechanics, you've also got the chance of having the R2A wing. Now that's 32 points.
The RZ2. Oh, yes, I see what you mean.
So...
that makes it tough.
Yeah. Fly 6 of them, and they've got the chance to fire forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can also take talents as well.
And their dial is... I would call their dial better. I mean, their dial doesn't have 1 straight and bank, but I don't care when you have a 5 blue forward and S-loops and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the real tough thing with the Fireball right now. It's got to compete with A-Wings, and the Resistance A-Wing is so good. Like every time I see someone fly, like 2 or 3 of them, the fact that it can shoot backwards is worth its weight in gold. You are getting shots round after round.
Yeah. And the fact that, you put this on a 1-point thing for heroic. If it happens, you feel so good even once again.
That's a good point. Blue Squadron recruits with heroic is 33 points.
Yeah, and you just fly them in, and you're like, I don't care. It's initiative 1.
Yeah, I mean, you don't care with the Colossus station mechanics either. But the advantage is if you go aggressive with A-Wings, you can shoot backwards as you're flying away.
And then also having the extra green dice. I mean, and 2 shields and 2 hull compared to 6 or 5.5, as we said.
I think the fireball is a little bit better from that regard, but I don't think that outweighs the fact that you get extra shots. Now, just before we move on, I think we have to bring this up because people in the comment section will if we don't. Yes, you can put Dead Man Switch on all of these. Yes, that's very, very exciting, I know. Actually, what you could do is instead of the R5 astromech, you could do Dead Man Switch and R4 astromech. Now, you all know my opinion on R4 astromech. It's amazing. It's one of my favourite astromechs in the game.
Yeah.
It's still 2 points. I don't understand why it's still 2 points. But you get all of those 1 and 2 speeds blue.
Oh, that is scary looking now that I actually put it up.
Yeah.
Oof.
Now, I will say this. I don't want to run Dead Man Switch on all of these. I know a lot of people find that very exciting. I know people are saying like, hey, it's great. You just dogpile on an ace and just everything goes pop and yeah. It's such a dumb card. I will say this. Dead Man Switch is not worth 2 points. It shouldn't be. It could almost be 0 points. Was it 1 point at one stage? I want to say it was.
I feel like it was like 2 points or 1 point in first edition.
Yeah, it wasn't good in first. I don't think it's good in second edition either.
Maybe it was only 1 point in first edition.
Let me explain my standpoint here. Because yes, obviously there are situations where you can manufacture it. But ultimately, Dead Man Switch is a card that empowers your opponent. Your opponent gets to decide when your ships blow up, not you. And that's why Dead Man Switch is not only hard to pull off, but could actively hurt you. You've really got to be aware of that fact.
Yeah, but I think if you're in a swarm, you're more likely to get these things
if you're in a swarm, you're more likely to get damaged by it.
Oh, no,
you're more likely to have ships next
like they explode and deal other damage. I'm saying beforehand, if you're flying your swarm towards an ace, they're going to eventually get blocked in.
You're more likely to have one next to the ace. I understand that, but you're also more likely to damage more of your own ships.
Yes,
which sucks. Which really, really sucks. That's the bad thing about Dead Man Switch.
But then, if you're lucky, you can have them like blow up in like a sort of massive thing around the ship.
I know.
If you're lucky, but it's
a
magical
little
Christmas
bit
land.
magical Christmas land thinking, and it also still comes at a cost. You're still losing your own ships. I realize you can take off the dream is like Sunterfell, and you just get 3 Dead Man Switches, all chained together around Sunterfell. A good Sunterfell player won't let you do that. And I only bring it up because I know people will in the comment section if I don't. It's not actually on this list, I should point out. And I'm not for a second suggesting you do it.
People fly to your strengths. If you like flying it, who are we to say no to?
Oh, look for Kitchen Table X-Wing. If you want to do like alternate win cons, it's a lot of fun. Let's move over to our next list. This one by Garrus909. Actually, lucky this week, we managed to cover a couple of patrons we haven't covered before. This one is a droid swarm. Pretty classic in terms of what we've seen so far. 7 vultures and Captain Seer. Yes, excellent. Max points.
200 points. You've used up the points well.
And you've used up your ship cap as well. 8 ships. Perfect. Yep. Very nice. So, look, not much to say about this one. Obviously, we know this works. We know this is a thing. It's just something I wanted to talk about because we've seen this here and there. We've seen like variations with like Sith infiltrators. Bear in mind, if you're interested in hyperspace, you're probably going to gravitate more to the Sith infiltrator one because you can't fly Belbelubs in hyperspace.
Yeah, or alternatively, you can also fly the bombers. Fly 2 bombers.
That's true. If you want to use a tactical relay, you've got to use a specific one of the bombers that uses that. You can fly it with a Nantex, but the Nantex don't have tactical relays, but still, 1 ace and a swarm is still a good archetype, so it's still worth thinking about.
What was his name? Gorgle or something? Or was it Brewer Kret? Brewer Kret.
Indeed, and Brewer Kret is 40 points.
Yes.
Fits, and you can do that with, I don't know, outmaneuver, like whatever. That's pretty cool.
If you really wanted to, you could be crazy and do like a squad leader. Also, you could just do snapshots snapshot's pretty good. Having an extra shot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an initiative, 5 is it? Yeah, that seems pretty good.
5,
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. In the list in front of us, though, we have Captain Sear. And just to remind you all, Captain Sear reads, while a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 performs a primary attack, if the defender's in its bullseye arc before neutralised result step, the friendly ship may spend 1 calculate token to cancel an evade result, which is really good with vultures. Remember, network calculations allows vultures to spend their friends' calculate tokens, meaning they can retain their own one in order to use that ability. Look, we know Captain C is fantastic. The meta has shown that. On this build, we have K2B4 as our attack relay. While a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 defends, it may spend 1 calculate token. If it does, add an evade result unless the attacker chooses to gain a strain token. Now, obviously, the attacker can gain a strain token, and that might not be consequential. But at the same time, I really like how this build gives you the option of giving you more evade and removing your opponents.
Yeah.
It makes those calculate tokens really versatile.
Yeah. Having the choice of an evade, that may mean that your ship survives that extra turn. And if they take a strain, it means that you're more likely to take them down.
Yes, indeed. You can capitalise off that. They might do it just because they want the kill, and in certain situations they might be gambling on their dice being good and it's not. So it's really solid. Also, all the vultures with grappling struts. Now, I don't think we've spoken about the vulture much since it came out, but now we know the power of grappling struts. We can sort of comment on this a bit more. My whole gut feeling when the vulture first came out was, hey, it's going to be good with energy shell charge. It's probably not grappling struts. I think I've been proven wrong.
Proven wrong, just a little bit.
Looking at the power of grappling struts, being able to make sure you keep getting those shots and redeploy off the rock in such a way that allows you to keep shooting your opponent, get the pressure on. And it's really powerful en masse. There's no two ways about it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually forced people to choose different obstacles as well now, because you can't just go, I'm just going to take these rocks, I'll be fine. Because you've got to think, am I going to be going up against a vulture swarm, and are they just going to stand on these things? And
that's right. While you extra maneuver, asteroid or debris cloud. Yes, it can't go on a gas cloud.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think we need more reasons to take gas clouds. But at the same time, it's kind of cool. I mean, I'll take gas clouds in a list that benefits from it anyway. I don't think, honestly, I would take gas clouds just to prevent vultures from being able to attach to them. I think if rocks is my better choice, like if I'm flying aces, I still take 1 big rock and 2 gas clouds. That's sort of my go-to with aces. But still, the upside is legit. And you always know that there will be 3 pieces of obstacles on the board that you can attach to, because they're the ones that you took.
Yep.
Which is really good.
You have chosen the biggest rocks out of the game.
The biggest rocks to do the shooty shoots from. Really solid list. There's not much more to say about it. It's terrifying and I love it. And thank you so much for the submission. Really cool. Okay, let us move along to a bunch of YouTube comment submitted lists. The FO by Jonathan Hargrove. We have a bunch of the Epsilon Squadron cadets, but this time it's being flown alongside Major Von Reg. Daredevil. Deuterium power cells. I know how to pronounce words.
You can say the Star Wars words the best.
It's not true.
Well,
Indeed.
Also this is hyperspace legal as well.
Very
not
good point.
Insignificant. As much as I like Von Reg, I personally would probably go Phasma on the SF.
Indeed. Why Phasma on the SF? Let's bring that up so we can all have a look. SF, while you defend, after the neutralised result step, another friendly ship at range 0 to 1 must suffer 1 hit or crit to cancel a matching result.
Yep. And also, if you build her out, depending on the way you build it, you can sit her at around 50 points.
And then go fanatical on all your FOs. Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
No, not fanatical, another ship.
Another ship. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, because you can't do fanatical because they're epsilons. Yeah, because 25 fits into 50.
I get it. I get it. That's right. So you could do Phasma with 6 of them instead. Which seems good. I mean, Von Reg, during the system phase, you may choose 1 enemy ship in your bullseye firing arc. It gains a deplete or strain token of your choice. it's just a good ace. And that's not a bad thing. As I said, it works quite well with swarms, but Phasma actually has real upside to fly alongside a swarm.
Not that I'm saying that Von Reg is bad. It's just that I haven't seen his ability go off a huge amount of times.
It's an initiative 6 TIE Baron. Yeah. That's where the value is. Like we've spoken about before. I think, what was it, Hollow? We were looking at as like the serious contender. But it's an initiative 6. Like, it's worth its weight in gold. It shows itself in this game so much. So I think there's arguments for both.
Yeah.
It's a different approach. Like, your TIE SF build is really more a dedicated swarm, while this alongside... I actually quite like this alongside Von Reg.
Yeah, because Von Reg can fly off on his own, do Von Reg-y things, and then you've just got another swarm.
It's great.
A swarm to deal with.
It's so solid.
It's 2 different ways of flying this.
Absolutely. And we've seen it work meta-wise before. I remember Sunterfell and a TIE swarm was this thing way back in first edition. Probably still viable now, come to think of it. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'd love if we could do like a kind of fanatical thing here, but at the same time, points are tight. 7-point bid with the I6 pilot is good, so I like it. That's really cool. Swarm plus ace, always solid. All right, this next list is by Moist Lettuce, and can I say I don't like either of those words.
Why lettuce? What's wrong with lettuce?
I just don't like lettuce. No, it's all crunchy and watery and bitter. Never liked it. I like the list, though. We have a Jedi Knight and Tucker alongside some of his Gold Squadron boys.
Yeah, so what does Tucker do?
Tucker. After a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 performs an attack against a ship in your forward-facing arc, you may perform a focus. Oh, it's one of these... I remember we went through all the V19 pilots, and our consensus was these are just all bad. I'm getting flashbacks. So a friendly ship performs an attack against an enemy that you have in your arc, you get to perform a focus.
Yeah. And realistically, he's going to be taking target locks most of the game because everyone has a synchronized console.
Synchronized console, I guess. Yeah. Oh, he's got cluster missiles as well. Yes, should point out, he has cluster missiles.
On all but one.
And yes, the rest do apart from Gold Squadron. Jedi Knight has battle meditation and synchronized console. So synchronized console is that redundancy card that allows you to pass off your target locks if you don't use them, which is awesome. I love it. It's such a good card. Also, battle meditation.
Meditation, yeah, that seems pretty good. You may coordinate one additional friendly non-limited ship of the same type. Both ships must perform the same action.
Yeah, it seems really, really decent. I mean, the only thing I'm concerned about is the lack of red dice, but you've got cluster missiles to make up for that. And I suppose with battle meditation, with the double coordinate, lining up a double cluster shot, you should be more empowered to do that. If you practice this kind of list, you're going to get those barrel rolls and you're going to get those positions just working for you a little bit better. And also synchronized console is, it's good with missiles as well. The weakness of this list is if you don't pull it off, you're just being punished. I mean, you're the kind of pilot that loves to fly in DBS 404. You know what it's like when you try to go for a strategy like this. You have like this combo-esque thing going on and things just don't quite work out. The range doesn't quite work out. It leads to feel-bads. And Moist Lettuce, that is what I would recommend you think about when flying this. Are you realistically getting this to work for you consistently? I would say cluster missiles is better than most missiles in that regard because it fires at range 1 to 2. Your opponent can't dodge it by flying into range 1. Obviously, you don't want to shoot at range 3, but at the same time, your ships are pretty durable at range 3 anyway. So if you're firing at range 3, you can get into range 1 or 2 the next round. So it actually works out quite well from that point of view. Yes, I think the key here is really focusing on your maneuvers, your actions, and making that double coordinate work for you. Because there's a lot of upside if you manage to get it working.
You've also got the chance to fly Jedi Knights as a swarm as well, if you have enough ships. But if you're flying on TTS, you can have all of them because you don't need to purchase them.
No, that's true. That's true. Yes, you can do like a mini swarm of Jedi Knights. You wouldn't quite get as many platforms on the table, Biggest issue with that is you don't have a lot of red dice. And
That
I
is
think
true.
this list sort of overcomes that problem, which is
With the cluster missiles, which is handy, yeah.
what makes it interesting for me anyway. Next up, we have the Empire with Tim X, strength in the numbers. And this one really caught my eye because I didn't know this actually worked out mathematically, but apparently it does.
Yeah. Power Runner and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 LN fighters.
Indeed. No upgrades. Who cares? Don't need them.
Don't need them.
Yeah, that's right. So previously, in first edition, you couldn't do this. TIE fighters cost 12 points each in first edition.
Yeah.
So you flew 8 of them and you were at 98 points. There was no way to upgrade one of them to Power Runner or something like that. I think you could potentially upgrade one to like a black Squadron pilot, but then you wouldn't have initiative matched or pilot skill matched back then.
I think, wouldn't you normally fly the black Squadron Aces and you'd have crack shot or something on them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, TIE Swarms or crack Swarms, we used to call them, used to favour that kind of build. But now we have this option of flying 7 Academy pilots with Power Runner. And that just seems nasty.
Yeah.
Really, really nasty.
I'm pretty impressed with that.
I'm reminded of a situation in a game you were just playing, actually, and I don't know if that video has already gone up or this one's going up first. I will have decided that later on. And basically, you're in a situation where you bumped a lot of your TIE FOs. You're flying the 8 of FO list. And you got, I think it was like 5 shots onto your opponent's A-Wing. And you got 3 damage across and didn't get the kill. And I'm looking at this going, now these aren't as good as TIE FOs. In terms of the maneuvers that you had to set up that, it would functionally make no difference. The TIE fighters would be able to do it just as well. Sure, they wouldn't have the shield, but that wouldn't have affected that particular round. It was like one of the first 2 rounds of shooting before a TIE fighter came off the table. Imagine if one of those had been Power Runner. Imagine if all of those TIE fighters that had bumped into each other to line up that shot had a reroll on attack. I'd be very confident that you would have taken out that A-Wing. And I actually made the comment at the end of the game, hey, I think that would have got you the win. I think killing ZZ in that opening round or like the second round of shooting would have gotten you the win. And it was one of those things. And this is why I really like the look of Power Runner. Because, you don't have the shield like running 8 FOs with no named pilots. But the upside, there is so much potential upside about running Power Runner because you get a reroll on every attack. Does it work on Power Runner as well? Yes, it does.
I remember,
So Power Runner and Serasu both got the same upgrade going in second edition where they can now reroll their own dice. Power Runner's fantastic. Yeah, she's 46 points. I don't care. She's really good. And this is the best thing you can do with Power Runner. Like,
oh, easy. Yeah.
I don't think there's a better way of using Power Runner in this game.
Now, also, the YouTuber stated that they would be flying these as 2 separate swarms, flying somewhat together, but going about different ways as well.
I think that's
a good way to go about it.
Oh, sure. Like you could run like a 2x4 formation if you wanted to do the whole lot together. There is downsides to doing that, like you can't really avoid rocks all that effectively. And you don't have the ability to flank and all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, Power Runner is better the more ships are around her. At the same time, even if you're running that in a cluster, you don't necessarily get all of them within range 0 to 1 of each other, so it's not a given. Like, even making sure she always has 3 buddies around her, it's still good. And I think there's arguments depending on what you're flying against and that kind of stuff. I think flying them as 2 groups is not necessarily wrong. I know a lot of people are thinking, I just want to have everything around Power Runner and get all the shots. And sometimes being a bit more strategic is better than that.
Yeah, after reading that, I'm just like, I can do that as well. I could fly my FOs this way.
You certainly can, but I don't think it's necessarily always the right thing. Have a think about it, Justin.
Yeah.
Have a think about it. And
I'll see what happens when we go to our 3rd rounds and see what I'm versing.
I will watch it with great interest. We have one last list to look at. Yes, I know we did 6 lists today. We wanted to make sure we covered as much of this as we possibly could. Not always going to do this, but I just wanted to get stuck back into this with a nice long video. This is the Rebellion this time. This is GWG, and this is Rebel 3s.
With this, we have a Gold Squadron veteran with an ion cannon turret and proton bombs.
Indeed, we have, what's this? 1, 2, 3 Red Squadron veterans in the X-Wing with the servo motor S-foils.
Yep, and finally we have a green squadron pilot with Intimidation.
So the elephant in the room here is you can just fly 5 X-Wings. You could change the Red Squadron veteran to a Blue Squadron escort, fly 5 of those with servo motor S-foils, and call it a day. The reason I wanted to look at this one is because I think this makes a good case for not doing that.
Yeah, but is this technically still a swarm then? Is the way I'd look at it?
I'd say so. I know, there's an argument for and against, whatever. Look, they're all still generics. I'm calling this a swarm just for the sake of the conversation in the video. Okay. Obviously, the 5 of X-Wing is the thing we can do, and it's terrifying, and that's the thing FFG made happen. But this is cool because we have 2 different platforms alongside, and I think both of them have a strong case. Looking at that Y-Wing, we have an ion cannon turret and proton bombs. Now, proton bombs, obviously, you can spike out someone and get some criticals across. That's always awesome. But ion cannon turret, when you're flying a swarm, is very powerful. If you can ionize one of your opponent's important ships and they do not get to choose where they fly the next turn, and all of your Initiative 3 ships or Initiative 1s, if you're flying that, whatever you're flying, it doesn't matter what initiative it is, they're going to know exactly where that ship's going to be.
Yeah. And I think also the fact that all of these are at Initiative 3, it gives you can use your ion cannon turret first and then have everything else go in. It's good. And Initiative 3 is better than Initiative 1, so you're more likely to shoot first when you're going against another swarm.
The opportunity cost of running these Initiative 3, it's 1 more point in each of the X-Wings, 3 more points in the A-Wing, 2 more points in the Y-Wing. Yeah, I mean, it's much better than taking a bid, that's for sure. Also, this A-Wing, Intimidation. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah. I like what they've done there.
Just a little cheeky one. Just fly him in, bam.
You could make the argument that running like just a Phoenix Squadron with Intimidation is better because it's Initiative 1. Lower Initiative is arguably better for blocking, depending on what you're doing. Just bear in mind, if you are flying after your opponent's ships, it can be difficult. Not impossible. You've got to set up a forced block for the next turn. But just something to think about there. Like there might actually be an argument here to drop these all down to Initiative 1 and 2. Like you'd lose your initiative matching there. I don't know if that's the end of the world. If the A-Wing's got to fly first, you can get out of the way. It's an A-Wing. You can do that.
Yeah.
Running them all at 3s has upside as well. Like, it's better against swarms, which helps. So, I like that.
So the Y-Wing would be your Initiative 2. Everything else would be Initiative 1.
If you went that way, yeah. Which I think there's absolutely no argument to do that. But just discussing this on the whole, running this instead of 5 X-Wings, dropping out 2 of those platforms for 2 other platforms that can capitalise off being next to a swarm, I think is a really good idea. I will say, perhaps you have lost too much firepower to try and go for that crazy combo. For example, if that A-Wing doesn't manage to get Intimidation working, it does feel kind of bad because you've lost a lot of value there, and you've run it at the opportunity cost of not having another X-Wing. So, definitely...
The other problem is also the dials. Because everything has a different dial, it makes it a bit harder to fly everything in formation.
True. Well, they've all got 2-speed stuff, but they can't all slow roll because the A-Wing doesn't have speed 1 straights or banks. So that can be tricky. It's not an issue when you're flying a whole heap of A-Wings. In fact, the A-Wing dial is fantastic. But it can be tricky when flying them together. But I guess you can just do 2-speed stuff. Yeah, I guess. I suppose.
Question mark?
Question mark, indeed. Very cool concept, nonetheless. I think taking like a swarm archetype as a given and try to tweak it, you can get really cool things like this. I would consider, GWG, if you're watching, dropping the A-Wing and trying to run 4 X-Wings and a Y-Wing. One of And the Y-Wing, you'll have to fiddle around with the points. Not all of them can be the same initiative like you've done here. Or maybe like get rid of proton bombs. Like, there's ways of doing this for sure. Really, really, really cool concept. Really cool list. And yeah, thank you for all of those submissions. I think this was a very interesting topic to talk about. I know we covered it a lot. I know we didn't cover the Scum faction this week. I just felt like with everything going on, I wanted to focus on the other 6 for the time being. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions for different archetypes we can discuss on the channel, I want to try and keep things broad if we can talk about like things that cover multiple factions. Even things that are a bit more relevant for certain factions I don't mind talking about as well. I like to keep things a bit more open so we can talk a bit more freely about all the different things going on and we're not just caught up with one faction a week. That is my goal for the time being anyway. Thank you so much for joining me, Justin. It's nice to have you here, man.
Great to be here.
Indeed. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Reddit, all that kind of stuff. Social media stuff down in the description below. You can also join our Patreon where you have a chance to join in the Discord if you're part of that $5 tier. That also means you have access to the different ways that patrons can submit their lists, which gives you a higher chance of being featured in one of these videos. So if you're interested in that, the information for all that's down in the description. In the meantime, me and Justin will catch you in the next video.
Bye.